Imagine walking into a room, knowing that the next 10 minutes will make you the most hated woman on the internet, and doing it anyway because you think it's a gift to your husband. For years, the 2020 Red Table Talk on entanglements has been the gold standard for awkward celebrity oversharing. But in the last 72 hours, Jada Pinkett Smith has effectively flipped the table. She isn't just revisiting the scandal, she is reframing it as an act of matrimonial martyrdom. According to her latest promotional tour for the updated version of her memoir, Worthy, that confession wasn't about her own truth, it was about protecting Will Smith's ego. Jada is now claiming that she played the villain, so Will wouldn't have to, and in doing so, she has reignited a social media firestorm that is currently dissecting every blink and sigh from that original 2020 video with a brand new lens of skepticism. The factual reality of this new blame cycle began on April 14, 2026, as Jada started a fresh press run. The core of her argument is that the adulterous wife label was a costume she chose to wear. She explained that she could have kept her relationship with August Alsina entirely private, but she felt Will was in a situation where he needed a definitive public answer to move on. In her own words, she decided to love Will and leave herself on the side of the road. This recontextualizes the entire 2020 Red Table Talk, not as a moment of healing, but as a strategic PR move designed to shield Will from being seen as the husband who lost control. She explicitly stated that she took the lion's share of the blame because she understood that people need something to blame, and she volunteered for the position to protect his identity as the family's pillar. Public reaction to this has been, predictably, a landslide of disbelief. Viral clips of Jada's new interview are being side-by-sided with the original 2020 footage, where Will notably looked devastated. The social media debate is currently centered on one question: is this radical honesty or radical gaslighting? Critics on X and TikTok are pointing out that by saying she chose to look like a cheater to protect him, she is actually making him look worse, painting him as someone so fragile that his wife had to tank her own reputation to keep him upright. The sentiment online has shifted from "the entanglement was messy" to "the explanation is exhausting." Fans who once defended Jada are now questioning why every healing moment involves a new way to pull Will back into the center of a controversy he has spent the last 2 years trying to escape. This situation escalated because the Smith family brand is built on a very specific type of transparency that is starting to feel like a trap. For context, we've been through the slap, the 2016 separation reveal, and the memoir tour. Each time, Jada provides a new layer that seems to contradict the last. By claiming she admitted to the affair to protect Will's ego, she is effectively blaming his insecurity for her most criticized public moment. This says everything about the overshare era of influencer culture. When your truth becomes a commodity, you have to keep finding deeper, darker truths to sell the next book. It affects their reputation by turning a once mighty Hollywood power couple into a cautionary tale about the dangers of living entirely in the red table headspace. Add original commentary and analysis. Why is Jada doing this now? It feels like a defensive pivot. After years of being blamed for breaking Will Smith, she is trying to reclaim the narrative by saying, "I didn't break him. I was the one holding him together." But there is a slower, more analytical tone we have to take here. When you tell someone you became the bad guy for them, you aren't actually being the good guy. You're holding your sacrifice over their head. By framing her adultery as a gift to Will's ego, she is removing his agency and making herself the hero of a scandal she created. It's a masterclass in modern reputation management, turning a mistake into a sacrificial act. Maintaining a conversational tone, but being blunt, the ego defense is a double-edged sword. If Will Smith's ego was so large that it required a public confession of infidelity to process a separation, then the power couple image was a total fabrication. Short, punchy sentences in the comment sections describe this as the ultimate backhanded apology. The pacing of Jada's revelations is relentless. Every 6 months, there is a new clip or a new chapter that reopens the 2022 Oscar wounds. We have to clearly separate the confirmed details from the online theories. It is a confirmed fact that Jada said these things in her April 2026 interviews. It is a confirmed fact that they have been separated since 2016. The online theories, however, are suggesting that this is a coordinated distraction. Fans are theorizing that Will Smith is about to drop a massive project or an interview of his own, and Jada's ego comments are meant to soften the blow or set the stage for a unified comeback. There is also a viral theory that August Alsina is preparing a tell-all of his own, and Jada is trying to front-run his version of the story by making hers about family loyalty rather than romance. The analytical tone of the industry right now is one of Smith fatigue. Slower, more thoughtful commentary is discussing how this ego revelation actually undermines Will's attempt to rebuild his action hero image. You can't be the bad boy of Hollywood if the public thinks your wife is protecting your ego like a delicate piece of china. It turns his 2022 outburst at the Oscars from a moment of defending his wife into a moment of protecting the narrative she had built for him. This leads us to a bigger industry question. When does transparency become toxicity? If Jada and Will have been separate for nearly a decade, why is the entanglement still being used as a promotional tool in 2026? It suggests that the brand is now more famous for its dysfunction than its art. The future impact of this ego claim will likely be seen in Will's next move. Will he confirm her version of events, or will he finally break his silence to say he didn't need that kind of protection? The upcoming response possibility is a red table return. Though with the show's move to different platforms, it might look more like a long-form podcast where the two finally settle the record for the 10th time. Ultimately, the new Jada Pinkett Smith clip isn't really about a new fact. It's about a new framing. She isn't just an adulterous wife anymore. In her mind, she's a sacrificial lamb. But as the public watches her blame Will's ego for her choices, they aren't seeing a martyr. They're seeing a relationship that is so entangled in its own press that they may never be able to find the exit. Do you believe Jada really confessed to protect Will? Or is this just another way to keep herself in the headlines while making him look like the one at fault? Let's talk about it in the comments.